Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today I'm going to be teaching you some of the basics of using the blend tool to add detail to your illustrations. If that sounds good, stick around. So first things first, let's have a look through some of my existing illustrations where I've used the blend tool. I don't use the blend tool everywhere in the illustration, just select parts. Like here, you can see I've used it on the ear of this wolf, also around the brow area of the wolf. Anywhere I feel like lines with increased increments of width or spacing might work for some detail, I'll add it in. Like with this sea serpent illustration, I've used it quite a lot on the body of the serpent here. Anywhere where I feel like there's shadow, I utilize the blend tool. And finally, let's have a look at this illustration here where I've used the blend to create highlights around the illustration, as well as to portray shadow on the helm and on the skull as well, around the eye sockets, around where the nose is and the cheeks. Again, I've used this quite a lot in this illustration because there's a lot more highlights, a lot more shadow. So to start with, we're going to run through just some of the real basics of the blend tool. So to begin, let's just grab our pen tool. You can press P to select that, or you can also just hover over here and select your pen tool in the top left. Then let's just draw a simple straight line. Stroke of this is 4 points. We'll keep it at that. And then we'll just copy this over here. And then this is essentially how the blend tool works. You select both lines. Then you select object, make your way down to blend, and then make. Now, this looks kind of off right now. And the reason behind that is if you just select it and go down to blend, go to blend option, it's set to smooth color. We don't want this. I usually work by specified steps or specified distance. We're going to select specified steps for now. And at the moment it's sat at 26 steps, which is way more than we need. Let's set it to 4. And you've got to if you click the preview down here, you'll be able to see what it is you're changing. So now, in between the first and final line, we have 4 steps in between. So, simple enough. Let's copy that down, and let's have a look at what happens when you change the stroke width, the stroke weight of only one side. So let's select one, double click to get in and isolate it, or you can press A, and with the direct select tool, select the final line, and let's increase the width to 8. Let's just double it. So as you can see, what happens here is it starts at 4, and gradually in increments, it works its way up to 8 point width, the final line. So pretty cool, right? Something else you can do with the blend tool, and this is how I add detail. What I'll do is I'll start with one line, maybe 4 point, and usually I select this sort of profile for the width for the line, let's say, on both. And basically what that creates is a nice tapered point, which works quite well for detail. You can use any of the stroke profiles that you want. Like this, for example, I use this in some cases if I'm creating highlights. You just have a play and see what works for you. When you have the lines you're happy with, so for example, let's just go back to this one and let's change it to this on both ends. And let me create something that I might use. Let's increase the amount of steps. Increase it to, do you know what? Let's increase it to 20. What you can see here is a nice effect where it fills the top or the base. And then as it tapers out, it creates a nice, almost like staircase effect, which is really nice for details. Now, if you want to edit these, select, come out your isolation, select the whole blend, and then object, blend, then expand. And then what it does is it creates a completely unique stroke for each. And you can edit these strokes completely separately from everything else now. They are no longer part of the blend, let's say. They are unique individual strokes that you can edit. If you want to edit them even further, you can select the erase tool here, And let's just make it a wave. Let's go across like that. And yeah, you can see it's created like a wave effect. Again, if you were to chop it up as much as you want to suit your illustration, suit where these detail lines are going. And finally, if you want to expand these to stop them from being strokes, just expand appearance. And then if you want to merge them all together, just hit the unite tool at the bottom here. And then you have them as a solid object. You can change the color of them as a solid object. You can even add a gradient to them, which might work quite well certain illustrations, depending on whether you're using gradients in your illustration or block colors. You know, you might want the details to fade out, maybe, like they do here. There is a lot you can do with the blend tool, and these are just a few of the things. And these are the methods that I tend to use the most in my work. Now, let's move on to the example illustration. So we've had a look at some of the past examples of my work, and we've also had a look at the basics of using the blend tool. Now let's utilize those basics and create, or at least put them into practice within an illustration that I am working on currently, which is this cowboy. As you can see, I've got the base sketch ready. So let's go into tracing the shape of the hat first so that we can then add some detail in. So now that we have the block detail of the hat put in, the outline as well, we'll start adding some strokes as we covered not too long ago. And then we'll look at increasing, decreasing width lines, stroke weight, sorry, and utilizing the blend tool to make detail. You'll see me using some, not all of the techniques we went through. Mainly you'll see me using varied stroke widths. You'll see me utilizing the eraser tool as well to create curves, and that will probably be about it. I don't so much use, especially in the line work stage, I don't really look into using the gradients, and I don't really use shapes so much. So we've put together a little hat here. Using the blend tool, I've added some detail, mainly for the shadowed areas of the hat where I want shadow to hit. You can see I've curved it in some areas. Some areas have a denser shadow, denser blend lines, and some have a lot more open, depending on where I feel the light might be hitting and reaching more so on the hat. So I'm going to have a play around with this, and then I'll show you what I come up with, at least for the line work for this design. And here it is. You can see I had a little play with the blend lines. I decreased the space, especially where the hat would meet the head. I just had a little bit of fun with it. I added a few more curves to the blends. And yeah, this is basically what I came out with. Now we've had a look at the example illustration and gone through that. I just want to show you some of the other techniques you can use for the blend tool. So let's say, for example, you have a yellow circle. You want the yellow circle, sorry, the red circle to gradient to yellow. Well, you can do this with the blend tool as well. Let's say you have one red circle, one yellow circle. You go to blend, you go to make. And yeah, this is a pretty cool effect. This makes it really easy to make gradiented shapes. So this is quite nice. Obviously, if you go to blend and then blend options, this is set to smooth color. You're going to want to keep it at that. You'll see if you go to specified steps and you select, I don't know, let's say 10, then this is also a cool effect. If you don't want a smooth transition gradient and you want something like this, then that's the way to achieve it. Let's say you could do it with different shapes as well, although I'm not entirely sure how this is going to turn out. It could be interesting, but let's have a play, shall we, and see what happens, because there's so much you can do. And look, there you go. Does it look amazing? No, but it's done it, and it's done the job. And you can see here, smooth color does work by steps as well, and as it gets towards the end, it becomes a little less smooth and you start to see jagged edges. You can fix that by going into blend options, and then rather than smooth color, going onto the steps and then just double it. Anyway, you can still see some jagged edges, but the point being is when you zoom out, you're less likely to see those. It's going to appear a lot more smooth. And just another thing that you can use the blend tool for is to vary your opacity of your fills. I've used this for backgrounds in the past, just to add a little bit of interest, a little bit of variance. Let's say this red line here, and I want the top line to be at 10% opacity, bottom line to be at full 100% opacity, but in between, I want it to gradually differ, to change. Now, you could just do this by copying, doing it that way, and then you'd have to individually change the opacity of each block. But the easier alternative is to use the blend tool. Go on to blend and then make, and then you'll see here, each step decreases the opacity just a little bit. And this could be a really easy, quick way of just adding a little bit extra to your illustration, to your work, to the background. And it's really easy to achieve. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you found that helpful. If you have any questions, please pop them down in the comments. Always happy to help. As always, guys, take care. Until next time.